So TJ, how does it feel this time around? You know, the last time obviously you were confident. You were confident you're going to win the fight, but obviously you're a bit of an underdog. Other things. How does it feel in the rematch? Does it feel different? Do you feel like the incumbent champion? Do you still feel like you're fighting to prove something?
I guess so. I mean, I kind of take every fight the same way. You know, I don't want to think of it any different than any of my other fights. Even in my last fight, I feel like I went into it the exact same attitude, just as nervous for every fight, nervous to perform mainly. You know, not so much who you're fighting, but just to perform.
Are you to be nervous?
I'm always nervous. It's normal to be nervous. You know, if you're not nervous, you're not ready. And it's about learning how to deal with those nerves to be your best.
I asked you this before. Are you surprised the rematch happened so quickly?
Yeah, I'm not surprised on the rematch. I understand that who Renan Barao was when I beat him, and that they're wanting to see me do it again. But it was a quick turnaround. But it was the fact that UFC's coming to Sacramento, and I wasn't going to pass up the chance to jump in front of my crowd in my hometown.
Do you feel like it's an advantage having the rematch this quickly?
Sure, yeah, I mean, probably more beneficial for myself. You know, he's got less time to create himself as a fighter. He can do the same things he's done for the last decade. You know, I'm sure he's going to come out with a new game plan, but it's like how much can you change in so long? You're not going to be able to get faster in 3 months, 2 months, and let alone, I mean, it's hard to even recover from the punches that landed on him in the fight. So.
Does that surprise you that he would want such a fast rematch in the dominating fashion you took him? I mean, do you think 2-3 months is enough time to reinvent himself?
I do not think it's enough time. But, you know, he's a champion. Of course he wants to rematch. You know, he's hungry now. He got beat. You know, he's just who he is. I mean, if I were to get beat too, I'd want to jump right back in the octagon. I remember when I lost in the Ultimate Fighter finale, I told the UFC I wanted to fight as soon as possible. You know, it's just who we are. We're competitors, and you want to be the best. You can't sit on the loss. It doesn't make you feel good.
What do you make of his comments saying that, you know, he did underestimate you and maybe he came in a little undermotivated? Does it sound like excuse making, or do you think there was part of that in the fight?
Well, I mean, it's definitely an excuse, you know, but he probably underestimated it, I imagine. You know, no one gave me the time of day to win the fight, and I'm sure he was looking into that as well. But you know, a lot of the stuff he's been saying has been a bunch of excuses. I mean, but you gotta create some excuse of why he lost. You know, he's been undefeated for 10 years, so you know, there's gotta be something supposedly that went wrong. You know.
Well, TJ, you said recently that you want to be a legend. What's the roadmap to being a legend? What do you need to do to accomplish that?
Continue to win, continue to impress you guys, continue to impress my fans, and do it in dominating fashion. And just I'm just setting my goals as high as I possibly can. You know, I thought I did that when I got into the sport and become a UFC champ, but you know, I've done that. So to stay motivated in the gym, you got to set new goals. You know, and maybe get 2 belts, hold on my belt for a long, long time. It's just you know, the list is up. It doesn't end.
What does it mean for you?
About him in that first fight that you didn't know that you could use to your advantage a second time around?
Oh, not really. I wasn't completely ready for what he was going to bring to the table. You know, I've been studying Renan Barao for a long time. He was fighting my teammate Uriah Faber twice, so I helped corner Uriah through those fights and was putting a game plan together for Uriah to fight him. And then when it was my turn, I just kind of continued that process. And me and Dwayne have been working to fight Renan Barao for the last, you know, almost 2 years, coming up very shortly. You know, Dwayne got to the gym and realized how good I was and knew that I'd get a title shot eventually, and wanted me to work on being the best, and he was the best at the time.
TJ, what does it mean to be able to defend this in front of your hometown? And I know you're going to have a lot of family, a lot of friends here. Team Alpha Male's all going to be in full force. What does that mean for you?
It means a lot. I really feed off the crowd. You know, every one of my fights, when they get pumped up, I feel like I do as well. And to hear how loud the arena's going to get, it's going to be amazing. And I feel like I'm going to feed off of it and try to show off in front of all my friends and family and teammates.
How many tickets did you buy?
How many tickets?
Yeah.
I know from my cousin from my hometown sold 600 tickets herself, so I'm sure there'll be a lot of people from Angels Camp coming down. It's going to be a packed house here from Sacramento as well, so it'll get loud.
Have you thought about that walkout, you know, walking out in front of the hometown crowd as champion? I mean, what that's going to feel like? I mean, you got to stay focused, but
Yeah.
I'm assuming you can soak it in a little bit.
Oh, I'm definitely going to. That's the one thing I've learned, I feel like, in my last couple fights, you know. I went out in all my fights before fighting Ascenso and just super focused and tunnel vision on who I'm going to fight, and the fact that I was going in for the finish, the big kick, the big punch. But after that fight, I had my cornerman Justin Buckles kind of get in my ear and tell me, you know, enjoy this whole process, enjoy the walkout, enjoy the media leading up to the fight, enjoy everything. And it's just helped me out so much. When I get in the octagon, I recognize all the people that are right there, and you know, just having a good time with everything.
TJ, looking at these other guys, you're a little overdressed for this today.
I don't know.
Is that part of
I
it?
see my teammate Danny Castillo over there. He's looking
Oh, I haven't seen him yet.
We just showed up together, but no. Just want to, dress the professional.
After you beat him once, he's obviously going to try and make adjustments for this fight. Are you planning on a similar game plan, or you have something else you're thinking of how you're going to approach this?
A little bit of both. I got to continue to what got me here and what got me to win in the fight. I got to do the same things but add to it. I got to surprise him. That's the whole point of MMA is to keep your opponent guessing. And so I got some new tricks to my game that I'm going to add to there and keep him guessing. But ultimately, it was watching the tape and seeing what he could do differently and expect those things. Expect him coming through for the takedown or trying to cut me off or do certain things. So, I'm looking to what he can change and going to be ready for it.
You obviously fought Barao before. This is the rematch, but in a weird way, do you feel like this is kind of the fourth time you fought him? Because I know you mimicked him for Uriah. So, do you feel like this is kind of maybe the worst matchup he could have as a guy you've basically prepared for him on basically 4 occasions now?
Yeah, I've done a lot of preparation for this guy. I've done a lot of watching tape and game planning for him. So, I wouldn't say it's like fighting him 4 times, but I've watched by far the most tape on this guy than anybody and game planned them more for him than anybody else. So, it's a little unfortunate, for the situation he's in. He just found out who I was last fight, I think.